morning. It's Wednesday, March 2nd, and the pandemic is over 2 years old now. Most of us Americans have grown tired of wearing our masks. And in addition to that, studies have shown that the vaccinated people are doing much better than those who are not vaccinated. And infections from Omicron were less severe and less likely to cause hospitalization and death than previous versions of the coronavirus. So given this new information, the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, on Friday dramatically eased its COVID-19 guidelines as to when Americans should wear masks indoors, including schools. And that means that 72% of the population will reside in communities where indoor face coverings are no longer recommended. Now, I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon so fast. I'm going to continue to wear my mask. It's not that I'm afraid or terrified. I'm just not taking any chances yet because, I'm getting on in years. I refuse to admit that, but I think I'll be a little bit safer when we really see what happens after these controls are in effect for a while, because you never know. But I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad that a lot of these rules that we lived under for the last 2 years or so, going into the third year, are finally coming to an end. And maybe people will start behaving normally. And what I consider normal is not necessarily what anybody else considers normal. So that's where it is. So the guidelines are changing. And it's changing, and it's good it's changing, because some information has finally come out that said some of the vaccinations are not working as well as we thought. And that was particularly true for the children. The Pfizer vaccine that was given to the children, which was 100% effective for the first couple of weeks that they had it, but then percentages dropped way down, so the Pfizer vaccine for kids is not really doing that well right now. And that's an important fact. But maybe that's because of the dosage. Maybe the kids should have had a stronger dose, and maybe that's the reason. So in any event, I don't know, but that could start happening around, and it could be wearing off. And then soon as this all starts to focus up, right, then there'll be a booster shot, or we'll have to take a shot every single year. And I guess that's okay. I mean, we do flu vaccines every year, so it wouldn't be bad if we had to take a COVID shot every year. You have to remember that we have to be flexible. We have to try and get through this thing with an open mind. And if you're uncomfortable, you wear your mask. And if you're around a lot of people and you think that somebody might be infected, you wear your mask. So you travel with a mask and you put it on and you use it when you feel it's appropriate. I'm not the only one that's saying that, that Walensky has said that. He said we need to be able to dial up again if we have to. So don't throw your masks away, because if there's a new surge, you're going to need it. But for the meanwhile, the recommendations have gone through that we don't need to wear our masks. So I have to view this as a wonderful thing, given what else is going on in the world. Ukraine is just carrying on like crazy, and the Russians are not stopping. They're not stopping their movement, and they're destroying cities and killing people, and that's really the big news that's going on in the world. So now, if we don't have to wear our masks, that's a big deal. That's a big relief. But when all you hear about is the Ukraine, and Walensky asking to join the European Union now, and I don't know why they would refuse, but maybe they don't want to go into battle with him, and I can see that too. But meanwhile, the Russians have a caravan that's supposedly 40 miles long with tanks and other vehicles of destruction on their way toward Kiev, and Kharkov, the second largest city, has been bombed heavily, and people are lying in the rubble underneath piles of it, and they can't get to those people because the bombs keep raining down. But that's a big mess. So while we can look at the COVID-19 as subsiding, we have to watch this horrible event in Europe. I don't know what anybody's going to do about that. They're sanctioned. They're cutting off everything from Russia, and Russia may never recover from those things. But meanwhile, the Russian people are not doing as much as they could, I think. They got a couple of thousand people out there protesting, and those people are liable to get arrested, put in some stockade somewhere. So if this thing is supposed to end, it will take massive amounts of Russian people out on the streets demonstrating against it, but I don't suspect that's going to happen. But then they'll have to live through the sanctions and everything, and it may get a hell of a lot worse for them, even if the Ukraine episode ends at some point, But if Putin stays in power, and there are oligarchs who are now turning against him, if he stays in power, then Russia will have a lot of problems for a long, long time. Maybe everybody should stop worrying about COVID and start worrying about the demonstrations in Russia. I don't know if that'll ease your mind at all. But I intend to wear my mask. I intend to continue to wear my mask no matter what anybody tells me until I feel it's 100% safer. Doesn't mean I'm not going to stop going anyplace. I'm going to do what I have to do, but I'll just wear my mask. That people are giving up on their masks and they're anxious, and some people did it way before they were told to do it. But we'll see what happens. In another couple of weeks, Walensky will make another announcement of some kind, and Rochelle Walensky is the CDC director. She'll make another announcement as to what we should do with our masks. Meanwhile, my advice to you all is to do what you feel comfortable doing with, and don't let anybody sway you one way or the other. If you're comfortable without a mask, do it. If you're not comfortable, don't do it. If you want to stay indoors, continue to do that. I don't know where I'm going anyhow. So that's it for today, and I'll see you in the morning.